Amaterasu. Amaterasu is one of the rarest techniques in the Naruto world and is considered the highest level of fire release, a true mastery technique. This technique generates black flames at the angle the user is looking at. These black flames are different from regular flames, as they are almost impossible to extinguish. They can burn any material and remain until the target is completely destroyed. However, some materials are resistant to these flames, such as Gaara's sand or Naruto's chakra cloak. It is possible to escape when Amaterasu is applied if you are fast enough. Additionally, it's possible to get rid of the flames after they have been applied. For example, Jiraiya sealed Amaterasu using a sealing technique. Apart from being used for attacks, Amaterasu can also be used for defense. Sasuke surrounded his Susanoo with Amaterasu. When Raikage attacked Sasuke, his arm began to burn with these flames. However, since Raikage couldn't extinguish the flames on his arm, he had to cut off his own arm to escape. The use of Amaterasu for defense is not limited to this. Sasuke can also use Amaterasu alongside Susanoo to create giant swords or arrows. This allows him to turn the power of Amaterasu into an attack in different forms. In addition, a new technique emerged from the combination of Naruto and Sasuke's nature releases. Sasuke's fire release and Naruto's wind release combined to create an incredibly powerful and balanced attack. The main idea of this technique was for the wind to continuously strengthen the flames. When Sasuke's Amaterasu flame arrow and Naruto's Rasengan were combined, one of the strongest attacks in the series was created. Kamui. Kamui is one of the most unique techniques, and technically it is a space-time ninjutsu. Essentially, Kamui can transfer objects or living beings to other dimensions. The spiral looks like a black hole, and targets that enter Kamui become completely undetectable, and their chakra cannot be sensed. Additionally, Kamui can be used to make escapes to other dimensions. Since Obito shares the same eye, Kakashi can also use Kamui. Obito's right and left eyes have some differences. The right eye can use a short-range Kamui, which he typically uses on himself. Sometimes he teleports repeatedly to escape or attack, changing dimensions. Another feature of his right eye is that it allows him to become intangible. In one dimension, his real body exists, while in another dimension, there is a reflection of it. Obito frequently used this while wearing his Tobi mask to mock the Konoha ninjas. His left eye, on the other hand, is the long-range version of Kamui. The user looks at a target and creates a kind of barrier field. When the user concentrates, everything around the barrier is drawn in and sent to another dimension. Additionally, Kakashi has torn apart many of his enemies' limbs using his left eye's Kamui. Over time, Kakashi, like Obito, has been able to create a barrier around himself and teleport. When both eyes are used at the same time, the situation changes. The teleportation speed doubles, and it is possible to open large portals that allow others to pass through. Additionally, Obito was able to use both Kamui simultaneously. Furthermore, Kakashi used a technique called Kamui Shuriken while using Susanoo, which creates Kamui upon impact with the target. Of course, like every technique, Kamui also has its weaknesses. In his intangibility mode, Obito remains nearly immortal, staying intangible for about 5 minutes before becoming solid again. Konan noticed this during the battle and set a trap for Obito, exploding him with billions of paper bombs. While Obito was falling through the paper, Konan actually forced him to use Kamui because doing so would make him solid again. However, Obito used Izanagi to escape from this, and if he hadn't, he would have died. Indra's arrow. Indra's arrow takes its name from Indra Otsutsuki, the ancestor of the Uchiha clan and the first user of Susanoo. Sasuke Uchiha performed this technique after absorbing chakra from all the 9-tailed beasts and using Susanoo. This technique is the most powerful form of the Chidori and is equal to Naruto's strongest Rasengan. Some believe that Sasuke named this technique Indra's arrow because he was very skilled in archery as a child, and it is a reference to his past. Kotoamatsukami. While other Genjutsu techniques manipulate the opponent by disrupting their chakra balance, Kotoamatsukami is aimed at completely taking control of the opponent's mind. With this technique, the user can enter the mind of anyone within their line of sight and make them feel as though they are experiencing real events and acting with their free will. It is considered the most powerful genjutsu because the victim is completely unaware of being manipulated. This technique is performed using Shisui's eyes. Years ago, Danzo stole one of Shisui's eyes, and during the 5 Kage summit, Danzo used this eye to manipulate samurai leader Mifune. Additionally, Kotoamatsukami is a technique that can only be used once every 10 years. After using it, one must wait 10 years to use it again. But thanks to Hashirama's cells, Danzo was able to use it almost once a day. Shisui's other eye was given to Itachi by Shisui himself, and Itachi later hid the eye with the order to protect Konoha, storing it with Naruto. When Itachi was revived through Edo Tensei, he encountered Naruto, and when Shisui's eye, which Itachi had hidden, was revealed, the Protect Konoha order was activated. Itachi then used a new genjutsu on Kabuto's Edo Tensei, effectively severing the Edo Tensei bonds. Susanoo. Susanoo is a humanoid giant avatar made of the user's chakra, which fights on their behalf, and can be used when the user possesses Mangekyou Sharingan in both eyes. As Susanoo remains active, it progressively damages the user's eyes, but this does not apply to Obito and Madara, as they possess the chakra of the Sage of Six Paths. In Japanese mythology, Susanoo is the god of destruction. Madara claims that a single strike from Susanoo can destroy everything, and after saying this, he destroyed a mountain with a single blow. The form of Susanoo can change depending on the user's structure, but there are some basic forms. As these forms develop, the offensive and defensive power increases. The first form is a defense-heavy one, resembling a rib cage that completely surrounds the body. Some users can add arms to this form if they wish. The second form is the half-skeleton phase, where Susanoo appears as a half-body and takes on a skeletal form. The third form is the full-body form, where the body is fully formed, and the skeletal muscular structure is complete, allowing the user to jump around and fight as a whole. In the fourth form, Susanoo becomes fully armored and takes on the user's characteristic weapons. For example, Sasuke uses a bow, or Itachi uses the Yada Mirror and Sword of Totsuka to trap people in an infinite genjutsu world, or Madara uses the Yasaka Magatama, which are incredibly powerful and throwable chakra orbs. In the final fifth stage, Susanoo reaches mountain size with maximum durability and attack power. Additionally, some users, like Sasuke, have used Fire Release Jutsu with Perfect Susanoo, or Kakashi has used Kamui Shuriken with his Perfect Susanoo. When the 5 Kage saw Madara's Perfect Susanoo, they were terrified and felt helpless, which shows how powerful this Perfect Susanoo is. Tengai Shinsei. Tengai Shinsei has been speculated to actually be performed by the Rinnegan, but no Rinnegan user has ever used this technique. However, Madara activated Susanoo before performing this technique, so it can be assumed that Mangekyou Sharingan is needed to use it. After activating Susanoo, the user summons 2 massive meteors from the upper atmosphere toward the Earth. If the user manages to stop the first meteor, the second meteor will strike with an even greater impact. When Madara used this technique, the entire battlefield fell into great despair, and it was referred to as the power of a god. Afterward, Onoki and Gaara worked together to barely stop the first meteor, but the second meteor nearly wiped out the entire 4th division. Tsukuyomi. Tsukuyomi is one of the most powerful genjutsus known. It represents the spiritual world and darkness. This technique can only be performed by making eye contact. Normally, Itachi can trap his opponent in the genjutsu world with his fingers, but Tsukuyomi, as mentioned, can only be done through eye contact. When Itachi was in Konoha, his opponents had to fight with their eyes closed. Tsukuyomi is generally used to torture opponents physically and psychologically, but there is a detail that I will tell you about shortly. Due to the power of the Mangekyou Sharingan and the speed at which Tsukuyomi works, normal genjutsu resistance is ineffective against it. Even bijus are helpless in this regard. Only those with the same eye can resist it. When Itachi used this technique against Kakashi, it caused significant psychological damage, and Kakashi was unable to perform his duties for a long time. Only Tsunade was able to heal this psychological damage. According to Itachi Shinden, the time spent in the genjutsu world is 1/1,000,000th of 1,000th of 1% of real-world time. What does this mean? Could someone with good mathematical knowledge explain this in the comments? However, Itachi adjusts this time himself. He kept Kakashi in the genjutsu for 3 days. Now let's talk about the exception. Earlier, we discussed physical and psychological torture, but when Itachi massacred his clan, when it came to his girlfriend, he trapped her in a genjutsu of an 80-year happy life, allowing her to live a happy life in her dreams and killing her without causing her pain. Object manipulation technique. This technique allows the user to mark objects with a seal and then control them telekinetically. It is somewhat similar to the 4th Hokage's sealing and teleportation technique. In this technique, performed by Shin Uchiha, he used medical equipment for himself. He was even able to create prosthetic limbs and weapons with multiple scalpels. Additionally, he could use these for both attack and defense. Don't forget to watch the video where I have already explained in detail all the other Sharingan techniques performed with normal Sharingan, such as Izanagi or Izanami. Thank you for subscribing.